Welcome back to the Roadside Dawns channel. In today's video we visit the town of Folkestone. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We are parking in the Tram Road car park near the harbour, but there is also one right at the harbour. Folkestone lies at a valley between two cliffs on the southern edge of the North Downs, on the English Channel. From the 19th to the mid-20th century, it was an important port town and an elegant seaside resort. In its heyday, several royals visited here, including Queen Victoria and Edward VII, as well as other representatives of the English aristocracy. Back then it was a privilege to take a vacation in Folkestone. The architecture of the city evokes these times. The city's decline began after the Second World War, when overseas vacations became increasingly popular. The port's commercial importance also declined after the opening of the Channel Tunnel and the ending of ferry services from Folkestone, but it still remains in active use. The meaning of the town's name is probably the Stone of Falca, the stone that marks the meeting point of the local hundred. The hundred was an administrative division that was geographically part of a larger region. Until the 19th century, Folkestone was a small fishing community, whose seafront was constantly battered by storms and encroaching shingle that made it hard to land boats. By 1820, the pier was built by Thomas Telford. But the sand and silt from the Penstream caused problems and hampered the development of trade, and in just 22 years the port went bankrupt and became abandoned. It was soon bought by the Southeastern Railway, which was then building the London-Dover railway line. The town soon became the principal packet station for continental traffic to Boulogne. The last ferry ran in 2001. The Rug People sculpture depicts 5 intertwining heads held together by an imitation of sticks and cardboard that once sat on a rug that was later removed. The faces hold a thoughtful expression, which paints an image of over a century's worth of pain, triumph, and camaraderie. The sculpture was commissioned by Creative Folkestone, a charity dedicated to arts and culture, like many other interesting works in the town. We continue our time travel into the past. A retro beach is hidden behind the old Harbour station. For those who want to go to the beach, there are restaurants and cafes, on the terraces of which you can enjoy a drink or a meal in a cozy environment. Here, too, there is a work of art, an ornate pavilion. The promenade, built in the 1800s, leads along the coast, towards the western part of the city. The spectacular zigzag path of the Leas is also located in that direction, but unfortunately due to lack of time we have to skip this today. The beautifully renovated promenade of the former ferry port, Folkestone Harbour Arm, is lined with retro bars, cafes, and restaurants. It is no coincidence that this is the most popular place in the city. The Harbour Arm offers unrivaled views of the fishing harbour, the coastline, and the famous White Cliffs. Live music events are also held here from time to time. We passed by the huge Folkestone town sign, which is the work of Patrick Tutofuko. Folkestone was once the arrival point of the Orient Express to the UK. The artist drew each letter of the inscription from his experience during his journey on the Orient Express from Istanbul. The last stop is the lighthouse at the end of the harbour, on which the inscription, "Weather is a third to place in time," appears. This symbolizes how important the weather is for people living at sea, which affects their lives. One of the most interesting sculptures in the city is the work of Antony Gormley, entitled Another Time 18, located on the lower level of the harbour. It evokes the feeling of being alone, in place and time. This is one of a 100-piece work that is dispersed worldwide. At high tide, the statue stands in the water. Richard Wood's two works entitled Holiday Home are also noteworthy and interesting pieces. The one-third sized houses give the harbour a bizarre and strange appearance. One teeters on the edge of the harbour and the other floats on a platform in the sea among the fishing boats.
Quite a fashion where I had sometimes played chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to find, they seem impossible to score. So I dream on to someday find that vintage love. The lights were dim as our eyes met, moves on me, and forevermore I like to share that vintage dream.
Walking along the stade next to the harbour, we see another piece of art called Steve. This huge sculptured pavilion contains aesthetic references to the architecture of the 1950s.
The lights were dim as our eyes saw me and forever.
The Sunny Sands Beach, located next to the harbor, is a popular sandy beach in the city. It's one of the closest sandy beaches to London, which means it gets pretty busy in the summer. The sand here is excellent for building sand castles. The span of arches that run along the beach is called Coronation Parade. This 340-meter-long structure was built in the 1930s as a sea defense. It stops the erosion of the cliffs and protects the surrounding buildings. The statue on Sunny Sands Beach is the Folkestone's mermaid. The bronze sculpture, created by Cornelia Parker, was inspired by the Little Mermaid of Copenhagen. However, this figure is based on a real person of Folkestone resident, Georgina Baker, and it was made in honor of the people and population of the city. The mermaid's watchful gaze on the horizon is also a reference to the rising sea level and the dangers of those who live by the sea. The Old High Street is an ancient road that connects the Bell to the harbour and is in the heart of Folkestone's creative quarter. The narrow, cobbled slope was one of Charles Dickens' favourite streets. The street is lined with shops, restaurants, and bars reminiscent of the Victorian era, with colourful buildings.
Life's a coat of many colors. It is never black and white. Can't have one without the other. The dark without the light. In the summer we were lovers. With the flame our hearts would burn. A flame the autumn would smother and leave this heart to yearn forever blue, forever blue. I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue. No more waking up early.
This bronze sculpture showing a woman with a hare's head and a dog. There are also many other interesting sculptures in the city, if you like art. you should spend a whole day looking for them.
Turn a blind eye to worry, but such times will never keep. I found a new smile.
Folkestone hosts the Zombie Walk around Halloween, which is a way to celebrate Halloween and has more and more participants every year. Maybe at one time we will come.
That doesn't come out as a frown, a smile to wear while performing, and to hide the tears of this clown forever blue, forever blue. I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue. Yeah, I'm putting on a show for the world to see. No one will ever know that without you I'm forever blue.
Some parts of the St. Mary and St. Eanswythe's Church date from the 13th century, but were largely rebuilt in the 19th century. St. Eanswythe was an Anglo-Saxon princess, the granddaughter of King Ethelbert of Kent, and the daughter of King Eadbald of Kent, who reigned in the 1st century. St. Eanswythe is believed to have been the abbess of a nunnery here. The building was later destroyed, but a new one was built, with the church dedicated to St. Mary and St. Eanswythe. We end our visit to Folkestone in a vintage Italian restaurant. We have come to the end of today's video, but stay tuned because the next video is coming soon. If you like our channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for your attention.